We talked about a lot offline as far as college football. I'll let you pick. What is the thing that jumped out this weekend to you the most that you want to jump in on first?
I think Florida. I think we need to talk about Florida and conversely Arch Manning and Texas. And really, there were a lot of things with Texas that are looking a little funny in the light now. Obviously, they are no longer ranked. I think I had not seen this stat until just before. We were talking about the pressure mismatch in Florida State, Miami. Florida defense, 35 pressures. Texas defense, 6. 4 of them were Colin Simmons. That's not winning football. If you're going to put Lagway, or if you're going to let Lagway sit back there all day, I mean, I know he's had some stinkers, but come on, we know what he is. And ultimately, I'm worried about the offensive line for Texas. DJ Campbell had like a 90 pass blocking grade, former 5-star. I was a really big fan of their left tackle, Trevor Gooseby, coming into the year. I kind of worry it's a repeat of their right tackle situation last year, super high tools guy, but is he ready right now? Because he allowed, I think, 6 pressures. Brandon Baker, another 5-star, he had a rough game. And the right tackle had a 0.0 pass blocking grade. So that's never good. Arch Manning had 4 turnover-worthy plays in this game. He's up to 10 on the year. And really, this looked like Billy Napier. He kind of got his guys up and ready to play. And he said, this season is not over. We're coming back. And it kind of feels like last year, they started off slow and then Billy gets some momentum and, maybe it's what he needs to save his job. I wouldn't complain. So
Clay, what you said, bringing up the pressures stat, kind of as I was watching the game, that was my overriding thought was, look, I said on Saturday I thought Florida was going to win, but still deep down I'm like, how's it going to look line of scrimmage wise? How are the athletes going to match up? Because we hear so much about obviously Arch Manning, but Texas, the talent they have as a whole, and they should be able to overwhelm a lot of teams this year. Having just seen Florida against Miami and knowing what the outcome was there, I was not impressed by what I saw out of Texas, just by the outside playmakers. We talk about the trenches, but the outside playmakers as well. Florida looked like the more talented team in that game. It wasn't just like they came out inspired. Like throughout the course of the 4 quarters, they looked like the better team.
I think that comment that just popped up, I think we know the answer. How does that look so good after looking so bad against Miami? That's Notre Dame, Florida State. It's just whoever's next, I think.
Wait, real quick. So Oso's asking, what's the name of the other channel so I can subscribe? It's not popping up in the chat for me. That is Group Chat Sports right here.
I'll put the logo. I'll put the link in there.
Just people with the link, and if you see the logo, you know what it is. Very clever. Shout out to everybody made his that's the text message box with the little football. We gotta get the soccer ball out of there. Pete does talk soccer, but we got to make sure when the Fink is here, we got the football on here as well. So on UF, yeah, I thought really it's more about Texas to me. I mean, UF looked good. The offensive line for Texas. I mean, we could talk about Arch, and Arch is not – I know you want to talk about Arch. Yeah. I saw some flashes. I saw him shrug off a rusher. I think it was Tyreek Sapp, right, that got through, and he shrugged him off and threw a beautiful pass. He's so big. He's so physical. He can run. He is. It's just – man, it's not just the fact that he was getting hit every other play. If you're Arch Manning, they can't run the ball at all. No. I mean, it's not just like they struggle to run the ball like they should as a team that gets 5-star tailbacks and that has, a 5-star offensive line. They cannot run the ball even a little. I'm pulling up the stats right here. You look at Texas's running game against UF. Remember, Miami, not to just always go back to Miami, but if you're talking about another team that should be – there's a top 10 Texas team going into this game. Number 1, preseason number 1. So if you're comparing apples to apples on that level of recruiting at a minimum, right, the teams that finish at the top of their recruiting classes, Miami ran the ball – I don't say at will against Florida because it wasn't that easy, but at the end of the game, Miami ran the ball at will and ended the game running the ball. Look at Texas here with guys that are, Wisner's a real running back. I know Baxter's out, but Arch Manning was by far the leading runner. Then you go to Wisner, 11 yards on 8 carries, and then it gets worse from there. I mean, this was like dominant stopping the run, and it's not like we're talking, the good defense, but we're not talking about the 86 Bears or some of these great defenses we've seen in the college level. So what's wrong? You follow recruiting, some of these names. I mean, why can't these guys run the ball with all these 5 stars?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, what's going on with this offensive line? I think they're starting 3 5 stars on the offensive line. Wisner might have been a 5-star in the back. I mean, I think, is there a development issue on the offensive line? Is there a development issue with their running backs? I think they've had success running the ball. It's just very odd. It's very odd. And also, I think it doesn't help with the pass game not excelling. It's a little bit easier. You don't have to respect the passing game as much. And especially with this pass rush, getting home on every play, you don't have to send a bunch of guys. So
Jarrett Gibson, another one from the state of Florida, who's banged up too. But Wisner was, I believe he ran for 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
So this is really, to me, the focus is going to be on Arch, and I want to get your take. We'll start with Pete, because I know Pete. I think you see it similar to me with Arch. I'm not as down on him as others. I just think maybe because I watch Miami and I've seen the Cam Ward experience, I've seen the Carson Beck experience. When I see someone like Arch Manning, my thought is, man, I wonder how he'd look with us. I'd wonder how he'd look with our offensive line, with our running game and that. But he's still missing throws. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he's doing himself. He had a chance down the stretch there and wasn't able to deliver. So, Pete, with Arch Manning, where are you at with him, and where do you think what's his stat? Like, what's his value right now? We know he's got a huge NIL right now, but like, what's his current evaluation if he was like on the open market? What do you see with Arch Manning?
Just based off the play, it wouldn't be very good. I still think that there would be, obviously there'd be programs that welcome him with open arms and think that this could be something that is fixable. I think, number one, you have to really look at the root of this. And this is what we were talking about last game. D, is this a physical thing? Because like earlier in the year, we saw some of the shots and he was, almost wincing. It looked like the arm angle, arm slot did not look very, very natural. It looked like he was kind of forcing things there. Or is it legitimately a mental thing? Is it a yips thing where being at Texas with the spotlight and all this stuff that has come with it has affected him mentally to the point that it's now becoming something that we see on the field week in, week out. And it's limiting this Texas team. As Clay, you said there, I think part of the run game struggles, have to come down to the fact that the passing game hasn't been, effective. But when you go back to the original question, is what's his value? I still think that if he were to finish this year out kind of on this trajectory with pretty much a stinker of a year, he would be wanted. But I think it's gonna take the right guy. Would a guy like a Lane Kiffin? I don't know. Would a guy like a Lane Kiffin say I would take my chances to kind of rehab that one a little bit? But I think it comes down to the root of it, man, because if it's a physical thing, he's got to get that thing assessed right now. And Sark has said it's not a physical thing. It's not a physical thing. If it's not a physical thing, then obviously something's off mentally here. And it's tough to flip that switch in the middle of the year. If that's the case, I think it's going to take a bit, man. And I was a huge Arch guy before the year. I know you were too as well, D. I don't know where you stood on him, Clay, but that's my thoughts on it.
And I'm going to stay with Arch. I'm still a believer, to be honest. I think we talked about, a Kiffin. I think Kiffin, the UF job really more, which I'm going to switch to UF now because I think it's worth looking at when you're talking about Texas. Look at UF in a similar situation. Obviously, I think Sark's going to see this one through just because this does not feel like a transfer kind of kid. Maybe,
I don't think so.
But it just doesn't feel like the way it's going to work out. Sworn to the Storm mentioning his footwork's horrendous. I agree. I mean, a lot of it too.
It is.
He doesn't have firm pockets, so I think he's getting some bad habits. But I'll give you a counter example that I think is relevant, which is the guy on the other sideline, right? So you talk about big, athletic, first overall pick buzz. That's DJ Lagway, and we know DJ Lagway played very well in this game. Now look at the team stats here. The passing's pretty similar, but more efficient on the Lagway side. Obviously, a lot less sacks. But look at this: rushing, 159 yards rushing for Lagway, and that was not Lagway's doing. A lot of that was handing it off to Jaden Baugh, which you called for. 37 carries, 52 yards. We already talked about most of that coming from Arch. 6 sacks for Arch, 0 sacks for DJ Lagway. So a lot of this because Lagway, we know last week or last game against Florida, he had less yards against Miami than Bethune-Cookman, right?
Yeah.
So that was as bad as it gets. So from one performance to the other, you see what the recipe might be for getting Arch back on track. It's not that complicated. Run the ball, protect them.
Well, I just now putting 2 and 2 together. He got sacked 6 times and was still their leading rusher.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. Yeah, I think it was smart to give Ball the ball. I mean, that dude is really, really good. We're going to talk a little bit more later about some of this year's freshman receivers compared to last year's freshman receivers. How do they stack up? The freshman receivers for Florida look pretty good. Dallas Wilson probably would have made an impact in some of these other games because, he looks legit.